Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today our topic is child centered education. आज का हमारा मौजू है चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन. डियर स्टूडेंट्स, इससे पहले हमने बात की है व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ फॉर्मल एजुकेशन, इनफॉर्मल एजुकेशन एंड नॉन फॉर्मल एजुकेशन. और उसके बाद हमने एक और टॉपिक पर भी डिस्कस किया है व्हाट इज़ द मॉडर्न मीनिंग ऑफ एजुकेशन. सो आज हम बात करेंगे व्हाट इज़ चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन. डियर स्टूडेंट्स, द कंसेप्ट ऑफ चाइल्ड centeredness implies that the child occupies the central place in the educational process. The teacher and all the other agencies of education are really the means to educate the child. The learning and teaching process takes due consideration of the child's needs, interests, abilities, and ambitions. The whole educative process is made to revolve around child. The first concern of education is the child. It has been rightly said, teach the child rather than the subject is the watchword of child-centered education. Dear learners, the child is not to be subordinated to an external discipline, a rigid syllabus, a centrally proposed timetable, or activities suiting only the institution or the teacher. His interests are supreme and need not to be sacrificed in the name of anything else. The child himself is a book to be read by the teacher from page to page. The child-centered implies the awakening of the educationists to the educational requirement of the children. Milk for the babies and meat for the adults is an illustration of child-centered education. All progressive educationists like Rousseau, Pestalozzi, Froebel, Montessori emphasizes the child's importance in education. Dear students, मैंने अभी बात की है चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन. तो चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन का जो मतलब है वो ये है कि ये जो होल एजुकेशनल प्रोसेस है ये किसके इर्द गिर्द मतलब घूमनी है, सिर्फ चाइल्ड के इर्द गिर्द. यानी इसमें हमने इस बात का ख्याल रखना है ये जो चाइल्ड के जो नीड्स हैं, उसके जो इंटरेस्ट्स हैं, उसकी जो एबिलिटीज़ हैं या एम्स एंड एम्बिशंस हैं, उसी के मुताबिक एजुकेशन हमने प्रोवाइड करनी है. राइट. तो चाइल्ड सेंट्रल एजुकेशन का जो मतलब है वो ये है कि ये जो होल एजुकेशन है, ये जो पूरी एजुकेशन है, यानी इट शुड बी अकॉर्डिंग टू द नीड्स एंड इंटरेस्ट ऑफ चाइल्ड. राइट. यानी टीचर को ये बात मद्देनजर रखनी है कि हमने स्टूडेंट को रीड करना है, हमने स्टूडेंट को पढ़ना है, यानी हमने स्टूडेंट को मतलब अच्छी तरह से हमने स्टूडेंट को मतलब हमने उसको रीड करना है, उसके इंटरेस्ट क्या है, उसकी एबिलिटीज़ क्या है, उसके एम्बिशंस क्या है, तो उसी हिसाब से हमने बच्चे को एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड करनी है. डियर स्टूडेंट्स, अब हम बात करेंगे व्हाट आर द मेन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन. इसमें जो फर्स्ट है दैट इज एम्स एंड चाइल्ड सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन. Aims of education should meet the needs of the child. Education should have the aim of 4H. That is, 4H means H for head, H for heart, H for hand, and H for health. Right? यानी ये एजुकेशन का जो मकसद वो क्या होना चाहिए, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ 4H. हमने बच्चों में 4H डेवलप करने हैं बाय डिफरेंट मेथड्स, बाय इम्पार्टिंग डिफरेंट नॉलेज और एजुकेशन. All around development of personality of the child is the aim of education. His physical, intellectual, emotional, aesthetic and vocational aspects of the personality should develop in a harmonious way through the education imparted to him. As Gandhiji said, By education, I mean an all-round driving out of the best in child and man, body, mind and spirit. So, education should help the child to adjust to himself in the environment. Number second, that is child-centered curriculum. Dear learners, in child-centered education, curriculum should be based on the needs, interests, abilities, aptitudes, development level, and circumstances of the child. It should provide rich experiences to children for proper development. The child is to be prepared for life. The curriculum for handicapped children cannot be the same for average or normal student. In other words, it should revolve around the child because the child is the central factor in the curriculum. Right? ये जो हमारा कैरिकुलम है ये किसके मुताबिक होना चाहिए? इंटरेस्ट एंड नीड्स ऑफ द स्टूडेंट. Number third, that is child-centered methods. In child-centered education, methods of education or methods of teaching are child-centered. Some of the methods which are used in child-centered education are kindergarten method, playway method, Montessori method, project method, Dalton plan, learning by doing or experience, learning by living, method of individual instruction. Dear students, various teaching devices like exposition and explanation, narration and diagrams, graphs and various other audio-visual aids are used. Maxims of teaching like to proceed from known to unknown, simple to complex, concrete to abstract, empirical to rational, and psychological to logic are followed. Number fourth, that is freedom and discipline. Dear students, in child-centered education, freedom of the child is emphasized. The child can develop his interests and potentialities in an atmosphere of freedom. Self-discipline is the best discipline. Spare the rod and spoil the child is no more a philosophy of the school discipline in child-centered education. Student government, student clubs, student societies all participate in making the discipline democratic, creative, and conducive to the needs of the students. Number next, that is place of teacher. Dear students, in child-centered education, the teacher is to observe, guide, direct, and help the students. He is to redirect the child's growth when the child goes astray. His function is to see that children grow along right lines. Teacher is a setter of the stage, a supplier of material and opportunities, a provider of an ideal environment, and creator of conditions conducive to the best development of pupils. Teacher is to protect the child from repressions, anxieties, worries, and mental disorders. He should understand the individual differences which are present in children. Dear students, teacher should understand the ability of a child for a particular work. He should respect the individualities of children. He should possess sympathetic attitude. Teacher should be a friend, philosopher, and guide. He should guide the students for effective learning. This is all about child-centered education. Thank you. Have a nice day.